Hi, Tiago here, and I'm going to show you how you can create your project in WeldCloud nodes to do full weld traceability. The first thing you need to do is click on Projects and then Add New Project. So you're going to introduce the initial kind of information for the project. Let's say it is a plant, and let's say the customer is going to be eSub, and WeldNode HQ is going to make this project. And I've selected ASME Section 9. Now, you have a couple of extra fields here that will allow you to define some extra details, like what is the construction standard, how many repairs should there be per weld, what is the current project status, and when it starts or when it ends. There's a couple of checkboxes here that allow you to limit the selection of WPSs and welders. So in this one, you'll select WPSs from the from the project's company, so WeldNode HQ in this case, and this one will allow you to only select WPSs for welds from the project's library. So already pre-approved WPSs only. And you can include the WPSs with uploaded PDFs instead of the generated ones if you have an uploaded WPS with a signature from a customer or inspector that you need to include. For now, let us start with introducing details on the components. So I will open up the component 1, which has some details. I'm going to select a drawing for this. And there will be also a component drawing, which will be more of an isometric, which is linked to the original drawing. And yeah, you can specify if this is a specific class of equipment. Maybe there's one that's cryogenic. There's one, and maybe there's one that's a water line. So you can specify this in the line class, and you add it here in the libraries. For now, I'm going to save this component, and I will create a new weld. So to create a new weld, I'm going to specify type of weld, base material, actually, I already have a base material certificate that I know, and I can add it already. It will pre-fill the material in the other field. But you can initially introduce a base material and then add the base metal certificate. If you want to add a new base material certificate, you have this button here that will prompt you to upload a PDF report and add some information. You do not need PDF, but you will introduce some details like the heat number and the details of the material. So I'm going to select this one. Now I'm going to select a WPS. I already have one here that's already filtered for the material that I'm using. I'm not going to require PWHT. And as far as filler metal, this is the one that I want. And yeah, now I can specify the fitter. I already have one here, sample welder, and this is going to be sample welder. Now I'm ready to add some inspection details, and I will introduce here the penetrant testing, which is going to be 100%. And if you already have, let's say if this weld is already completed, then you can already introduce all these details, most likely. But you can also leave them blank to keep updating the project as you go forward. So let me go with the radiography, 100%. And also, here we go. And there we go. And if this weld was already done, you can specify the dates at which everything was done. And there you go. If this weld is only have been planned but not yet produced, you would just introduce the dates at which anything was done. So if it has not been fitted, you would leave all of them blank. But if it has been fitted but not welded, you would introduce the date with the fit date. Now I'm going to save the weld. And there we go. And as you move forward, you'll be able to do this for multiple welds. So the idea here is you add your information in the library, all the base metal certificates, or all the filler metal certificates, NDT reports if you already have them, drawings and component drawings, and then when you start the project, you can select them in these menus. One thing that will help into the data introduction for planning is you can duplicate a weld 50 at a time. So I'm just going to do 20 copies. And now it's, yes, 20 welds I've created. And if I go back to the weld list, actually, I'm going to go to this component. You will see that there are now a number of welds in here. And now, one thing that you can do is each component, you can duplicate them one at a time, which will go into the background and start duplicating. It doesn't matter how many welds it has, it will do it regardless. So in essence, now I have two components. And that is essentially how you create a project inside of WeldCloud Notes. Now, if you are monitoring the progress of the project, you will want to have a look at the dashboard, which will keep track of most details inside of a project. So how many welds have been completed, how many components have been completed, what is the repair rate of the project, and how many welds are waiting for going into production. You will also see how many welds are actually currently in production. And if you get a large section here, it could become a bottleneck, so you'll know to take action on this subject. You'll also have a full overview of how much of the project has been done, so how many welds have been planned, how many have been fitted, how many have been welded, how many have been tested. But in essence, you'll be able to do this from here. As far as doing the verification of the progress, you can always filter through the welds to find a certain weld ID, a certain filler metal, but you can also see if there is a certain test that you have planned, but have either planned or already executed, planned, not yet executed. All tests have passed, all tests have failed. So if I click on this one, it will filter some welds. In this regard, it's planned or already executed, but let me try all tests that have passed. And there we go, 3 welds that have all tests that have passed with the magnetic testing. And that is not the only thing you'll get from this. You will now be able to create a report. And if you click create a report, it will start generating all these welds into a PDF document and will gather all the documents that are necessary for you to present to your customers or just keep as an internal log. Usually these documents will take either a couple of seconds or maybe 1 or 2 minutes, depending on the size of the documents that you've introduced. So now I'm going to click here and I'm going to download the report. And I'm going to show you how it looks like. And here it is. You'll have a list of all the components, all the welds, and all the details you've added in each weld. And all the WPSs will be here as well. All the welders that you've attached will be here. You can also attach their welder certificates. And then all the NDT reports, all the PQRs will be here. And all the drawings, which are in their original format, so that if you need to reprint them, they'll keep their quality. All the base metals that are being used, all the filler metals. And in essence, if you have also any further documents that you want to introduce, you can introduce them into the documents section in the libraries of the project. So if you want to add, I don't know, an invoice or an inspection test plan, anything that is relevant to the project, you can do it here. And that is how you create and manage a project inside of WeldCloud Notes.